Hi, this is Randy. Well, I noticed something that when I was at the last meetup that I went to on a Saturday night where there was dancing and a band, um, I knew a lot of people there because there were actually two different meetup groups that went to the same place. And so there was quite a few of the men and women that I knew because I've been going to some of these things for the past few years. Um, So there's like maybe three or four women out of like 50 that are between like 45 and 65 that still have like rocking bodies, rocking physical bodies in this group. And so what I notice is that most of the men tended to flock around those women. Um, Now, one of them, maybe two out of four of them, they have also very, very pretty faces. The other two, no, not so much. But what was interesting to me is how none of the women or the men really cared about kind of sharing these women with other men, and the women didn't care about being very physical with many different men um, in the same place at the same time, one after the other. So one of the women actually brought a new date to this meetup. I found that out because a man that pines for her and is her like friend, so he's been put in the friend zone. This guy told me that she was coming up there and that she was going to bring this new guy that she's been dating, and that she finds guys on online and dates them a lot. And this woman was like all over the guy that she brought, like all over him physically. Like holding his face, kissing him, touching him. It was like, really kind of uncomfortable. It was the type of thing where you're like, get a room. But, these aren't like teenagers or, people in their 20s. These are people in their mid 40s, maybe, early 50s, in that age group. Pretty much everyone at this bar was that age. So here's the guy talking to me. He's pining over the woman that's with her date and that he goes out with all the time, but they go out as friends, and he's like having to watch her making out in public with this brand new guy that she met online, who has his hands all over her. And but she was the aggressor. I mean, I swear to God, it totally looked like they were in love. But they hadn't known each other. Like, I asked the guy I was talking to, how long did they know each other? And he said hours. That's all he said. They've only known each other for hours. So that was one example, and this is, one of the real pretty ones with the hot rockin' body. So I just wonder how many other guys were there that were, know this lady and are pining over her at the same time watching her make out with some guy. And then, I mean, they just take it in stride, like, well, I still think they still try to go for it. Like that doesn't turn them off at all to her. They more like think, well, I just wish that was me, or maybe that will be me next week, or I don't know. It's like they just kind of accept it, and um, they're fine with it to a certain level, which I don't know is weird. And then this other woman was dancing with a bunch of different men, which like that's cool that a bunch of different men want to dance with her and stuff. And so then this other guy that's also, I know he's friend zoned by her, like when she'd go to sit down, him and this other man like will buy her drinks, and like he's like rubbing her back. And I've seen him do that before, like sitting next to her and like rubbing her back and like touching her like they're a couple, but yet they're not a couple. I mean, they're clearly not a couple. So I'm just like wondering, like, why does he do that? And like why does she not feel uncomfortable with him doing that? Because it's like, I don't know, all this intimate touching, but then yet you're not really with the person. You may or may not know them that well, and then you kind of like, you're good with just switching off. It's like these women know that a bunch of men pine after them and flock toward them. And I don't know. I think when that used to happen to me when I was younger and hotter, I didn't that was really uncomfortable for me. Like I didn't like more than paying attention really to more than one person at a time, or just kind of like leading them all on, or getting having more than one guy. Like I don't want even one guy touching me unless it's like my boyfriend really, but having like more than one guy touching you, or having some guy sit and rub your back, and then the next thing you know you're out on the dance floor with a different guy. So these women are kind of interesting to me. I don't quite get what's going on with them. I mean, they're nice enough. I know both of them, but to kind of see them in action is a little bit weird. And then to see the men, like the men are not good looking. Okay, so these men are all out of their league, except the one that the one lady was making out with. He was good looking, the one she had just met. But these women are out of all the men's league, but yet that's where those men place their entire attention with, all night, every night, usually when I see them all out. And like none of them get it, that they're not going to score. They're never gonna win that person's heart. She's not even, they're all friend zoned, and it's very clear, but yet they still like keep like hovering, and I don't know, I guess trying or whatever. And they don't even mind sharing, which is something that like just really gives me the creeps, like this sharing thing. And if I was really really like liking a guy, and then I saw him with someone else, cuddling up and touching and kissing, and then I mean, I guess I wouldn't be staring at them. I'd forget about them. I'd be like, okay, he's taken. I wouldn't like keep trying to get his attention and stuff like that. But that's what the men do. They don't seem to mind. It's like they almost like they are willing to just stand in line. It's like, okay, my turn, my turn. They don't get jealous or envious of each other. They're just like, okay, well, maybe she has enough to go around. She can share. And it all just kind of reminds me of a gangbang or something. Yeah, maybe I'm blowing it out of proportion, but that's just the way I feel. So I wanted to express what I see going on with my age group. I didn't like it when I was younger, and I definitely don't really like it now. It's kind of disturbing to watch. I'm just not like that. I'm not that kind of person. All right. Thanks for listening.